Hey everybody, it's Dave here. Yeah, if I get my camera turned around, what do you think? We're live at the 2-minute warning. Camera, what the hell are you doing? All right, thank you very much. Hey, did you expect a blowout? I didn't expect a blowout, and yet we have one. And since we've started, I'm going to hit the roll-in. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOLs, live at the 2-minute warning. Next. Love that. And I got to get out to switch the link real quick. And the link's not wanting to change. Why is that? Don't tell me we found another bug. Oh, great. Well, we'll go with this one then. Maybe. Copy link. All right. I want to say hello to everybody that's in the house already. We have the lovely and beautiful Miss Mary Fisk. We have Edwin. We have Doc Proto. We have Jerry is here as well. Jerry. Marlon. We have Peter. Welcome, Peter, once again. Duncan is here. And also Dave L. Welcome to the show. I'm going to switch screens real quick so we go back here. I am watching live. We're at the 2-minute warning. They're about to resume play. But let me get some things done real quick because I haven't been behind the 8 ball. Not supposed to do that, David. I know. What do you think with all those people getting in to play? All the backups. You gotta love that when that happens. Get those backups in. It's a beautiful thing. Gotta love it. All right. What a game, Dan. I agree with you. What a game. Yes, it is. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to have Jonas joining us here momentarily, and then Tyler will chime in. And there's Jonas. He's trying to get his camera up. Yep. Looking good. I got to click this camera in. And incomplete pass. So, Texans did not score on that one. Come on. Oh, I updated my OS this weekend, and I do not like it so far and how it's interacting with Ecamm. There we go. We got Jonas in the house. Jonas, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, a little bit worn out from that weekend, but definitely not from that game. It was it's really not. I'm really not used to have like 2 very relaxed fourth quarters in 3 weeks, and being on the good end of that. Yeah. So
Keep going.
the Vikings definitely did take care of me after I had a doubleheader as a referee today, and yesterday I played a game, so my body is a little bit worn out, but at least this game wasn't very stressful. Yeah,
Well, good.
that was good.
That was what? What you thought you were going to see today? Is this what you thought you were going to see today?
Oh no, I didn't
good
expect
defense.
that. The Texans, I think, are. I don't know if they are a top 5 team in the NFL, but they are definitely a playoff caliber team. I think they are pretty much a lock to win their division, and I think they have a shot to at least win 1 or 2 playoff games in the AFC, and so that was a really good football team that they played today, and it's. I really didn't expect this to be that lopsided. I did think the Vikings have a chance to get this. Not sure if I would have thought they would be favorite to get it, but they definitely. I definitely thought they had a chance, but no, I didn't expect a blowout.
Well, the Texans are going for it on 4th and goal. I want to welcome everybody that's joined us. Chuck and Anthony, good to see you guys.
You're ahead of me again.
Yeah, because I've got it live over the air since it's Houston is relatively local. Bills drop back, almost sacked, throws it to the end zone, incomplete. Vikings ball. Cam Bynum on the defense right there. Absolutely beautiful. I didn't see who got the almost sacked, the pressure. Let's see. On a replay, it was, I couldn't tell who that was. Looked like number 25. Who's 25? On a blitz.
Theo Jackson.
On a blitz.
Theo Jackson is 25.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, went off the hands of number 26. Good. Now we're looking at the grin on KOC's face. You think he's happy? Yes. Yes, Chuck. 3 games in and our secondary has not been talked about at all. They're 100% kicking major ass, and we are in the victory formation. Gotta love that. Nick Mullins takes his knee. I think we've got one more snap to go. George says Murphy needs to be replaced, as in Murphy Jr.? Why? He's doing all right.
Oh.
He almost missed an interception today. Or he almost got an interception.
The thing is, as long as that secondary is healthy, he is the weakest link in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting around that. But he's still a very serviceable starting cornerback, and therefore, because he is the weakest link, he is going to be targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Because QBs are going to avoid the other two, so it makes sense that they are picking on him. But he still is in pretty good position most of the time. He's not like a great cornerback, but he is a very solid cornerback, and if that's your weakest link in your secondary, that's a good problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely doesn't play at a level that's as bad to warrant him being replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, Vikings win. Vikings win. Vikings win. The final score is 34-7 in a blowout of the AFC, theoretically, Super Bowl contending Houston Texans. And today, Brian Flores' defense made it absolutely miserable for the young stud quarterback in C.J. Stroud. And there we lose Jonas, which he was afraid he's going to get locked up. He's been having problems. Now, with Flores, I don't know if you guys caught it on the broadcast. They said Flores, this year's purpose design was to defeat a McVay defense or a McVay offense. And so far, he's doing pretty good at that. So let's see how it goes. Hey, Forlorn, welcome. George, good to see you as well. And Cody, yes, we did. We kicked some serious Houston butt on that one. And that's good. Yes, Cody. The team from Wisconsin is next on the slate, and I heard today that Jordan Love will be playing in that game. We'll find out. Malik Willis is doing better than anybody anticipated today, unfortunately, but that's what it is. We'll find out. Dalton, what do you say? 24-0? Well, we won by 27. Yes, we did. Yeah. Frauds. Hey, I said out earlier, remember, Vegas called us for 6.5 wins. We're almost halfway there, and it's only been 3 games. So that's a wonderful thing to look at. Now, I want to look at some scores. Final score, Green Bay 30, Tennessee 14. And the other division game that was played was Chicago and Indianapolis. Presently, Chicago trails 21-16 with 2 minutes and 1 second left. Hey, MWO, welcome to the show and SKOL. Now, let's go over, like I like to do, some of the box score stats. Sam Darnold today was 17 of 28 for 181 yards, hoping he would get over 200. He took 4 sacks for 25 yards, and yes, we did see that, but he ended up with a 119.2 quarterback rating. Not bad. He will keep going. So, we shall see. All right. Delton, you got that for plus 750? Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. Yes, MWO, winning by multiple scores and not taking the foot off the gas is a wonderful thing. How rare is that? And it got to the point where we're putting in all the backups that we had on the sideline. That's absolutely fantastic. We'll see how it goes. Now, Aaron Jones had himself a day. He had 102 yards on the ground and 19 rushes, and he also had, 5 receptions for 46 yards. So, like I said, he had himself quite a game. Hopefully he gets a game ball for that because that was pretty damn good. Jonas is back with us. And we're going to look at also Ty Chandler had only 13 yards of rushing. Obviously, Aaron Jones was the hot running back today, but that's okay. And then we get to the receivers. Vikings were led by Justin Jefferson. Not that that's a big shocker. He had 6 receptions and 81 yards, but uncharacteristically, he dropped 2 footballs today. One hit him right in the chest in the numbers, and the other one he was reaching for on that screen pass, and he dropped it. That is unusual, and you saw he was upset with himself, and I'm sure he's going to fix that this week. Then comes second in receptions was Aaron Jones, like I talked about. He had 5 for 46 yards. Third was Jalen Naylor, hardly even newer, 3 for 31, and he was open on quite a few spots that I saw that the ball went elsewhere, but that's okay. There were completions. SKOL for life, Barber. Barber, I hope you're all right. And yes, George, he hurt his hand, but that was after that first drop, if I remember correctly. Now I'm going to bring in the middle, the one, the only, who A to Z Sports sought out, Tyler Forness. Oh. Tyler, what did you think of that game?
I think the entire world was wrong on the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody. You, me. I haven't talked to Jonas in a while, but probably him. Every analyst out there. I think that this team is for real. And it was something that I think we had talked about, Dave, that if everything clicked, and Darnold was the guy who could be the next Geno Smith, who could have a renaissance season. If this defense took another step forward because it's year 2 of the system, if everything clicked, then this team could, potentially win the division, make the playoffs, and make a run. But we thought, okay, that's like a 99th 100th percentile outcome. It's unlikely to happen. But it is in the realm of possibilities. Well, we're seeing that right now. This Vikings team is proving they're for real. They didn't just go in and beat the New York Giants. Yes, they did. They beat the New York Giants. They smoked them. Then they beat the Super Bowl participant, the runner-up in the San Francisco 49ers.
The NFC champion.
Yep. And then they just destroyed my Super Bowl favorite, the Houston Texans. in a game that wasn't close. It never felt close. Even when it was 14-0, it never felt like the Texans were really in it because they were struggling. They couldn't handle this Brian Flores defense. They stifled them all game long with different pressure packages, with different back coverages. And Jonathan Gennard was the best of all the players that had switched teams between the two. 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. The dude was a monster. The first play of the game, he nearly got a sack on C.J. Stroud. The second play of the game, he got another pressure, and Harrison Phillips ended up batting the ball down, intercepted by Kumu Grugier-Hill. This Vikings team is legit. It's for real. And a lot of people are going to have to start eating crow. And, you know, us included. Like, this team is legit. And there's going to be more and more conversations about, oh, well, what do you do with Sam Darnold? Like, he got MVP chance when he returned to the game. They were somewhat faint, but I could hear him from my television. Like, this team could be really special. It already feels really special. I thought it would be great if the Vikings started the season 2-3 before the bye, because it was a rough stretch. Yeah, you get the Giants, but then you have to take on the 49ers, the Texans, the Packers, the Jets, all of whom are expected to be competing for a potential Super Bowl berth. Well, you started 2-0 against those teams. Both games at home. But who cares? Who cares if both games were at home? You won them. Now you go to Lambeau Field, where Aaron Jones is going to have that chip on his shoulder. They could realistically be 4-0. And that would be pretty damn cool. This team is legit. I'm running out of superlatives. The Vikings are for real.
And Indianapolis just defeated the Chicago Bears 21-16. Chicago drops to 1-2 in the division at the bottom. For those that were curious, Chuck says this team is a team, and that's all on KOC.
And I think, and I tweeted this out because I think Kevin O'Connell doesn't yet get enough credit for what he's done so far this season, because I don't think people realize right now what kind of an advantage he has been for all of the first 3 games. His decision making has been so good at so many times. He had so many great calls. He is so gutsy right now. I think that's the biggest thing. He is trusting this team. He is showing his team that he is trusting them, and they embrace it, and they have paid it back every time he's done it. He has been backed up against the end zone against the Giants. He passed out of it. He has been backed up against the end zone against the 49ers with Nick Bosa in there. And he called a short play for 50 yards that went 97 yards in the other direction. And then this time again, if they just kicked the long field goal, they would have had they already would have had a 3-score game. But no, he stayed on the gas pedal. He went for it on 4th down, and this stuff matters. And I don't think people realize how much it matters. And right now, Kevin O'Connell, I think, we are 3 weeks in, so there's a long way to go. But if NFL awards would be given out right now, I think my vote for Coach of the Year would be on him.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Now,
I think there are only 2 candidates for Coach of the Year. It's Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur. What Matt LaFleur has done with Malik Willis over the last 2 weeks is, like, considering what we saw of him the first 2 years, and I think Willis and Sam Darnold are going to be poster childs of this. And you can talk about Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield too. The quarterback does not matter if the coaching staff is bad and they can't develop a quarterback. It does not matter if the situation is bad, no matter how good the quarterback is. I think we're going to see more and more teams default to fixing the situation before finding the guy.
Well, I snapped a tweet I saw. Lauren Cox had written, the gap between truly elite offensive play callers and average play callers feels just as big as the gap between elite QBs and average QBs. And then she goes on and says, he goes on and says, the Vikings offense is cooking with Sam Darnold. The Packers offense has Malik Willis looking like a starter. The Bears can't score points with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and DeAndre Swift. So there does look to be correlation there that having the elite play callers, the ones that know what they're doing, helps improve more than just having an elite quarterback. Because an elite quarterback with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, and you might want to take Dallas into that talk, with Dak getting there all the time and doing the one and done thing. They may have a point. He may have a point. But we'll find out.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think one example last year were the Browns with Kevin Stefanski, who I also still think is one of the better offensive play callers in the league. The Niners with Purdy obviously is the most obvious example. You can go up and down the league. When you have an elite play caller, when you have a guy who can develop an offense in a way that you just have a certain infrastructure ready for your QB, and even if the supporting cast isn't elite, you can still have a functional offense. It probably won't be elite, but it's still functional, and I think right now, we are seeing this with Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold. I don't think Sam Darnold had a great game today. He was off a couple of times. He held the ball a little too long on a few instances. But all of this doesn't matter if you have a coach who knows how to move an offense forward. And Kevin O'Connell is such a coach.
I agree. I absolutely agree. What stood out to you today, Tyler?
What didn't stand out?
No, that wasn't the question.
I'm not going to use the word disappointed, but I thought the offensive tackles would have held up better against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Now, I said this with Nick Bosa. Darrison got cooked by Bosa a few times. You're going to get beat by great players, even if you are a great player yourself. So I expected them to have some losses, but I thought that they would have been a little stronger against those guys. I did think that the interior pressure held up relatively well throughout the game. There were a couple instances, of course. It's never going to be flawless, but I thought that they were good enough. And in a game like this, good enough is fine. There are definitely places of improvement. Jalen Naylor seems to really be coming into his own and getting comfortable being a guy that this team can count on, because this team has never wavered about the fact that they believed he could be a guy. But it's about finding your role, finding your niche, and understanding how you can make that impact. And I think you can just tell he feels more confident on the field. The Vikings running game is solid. There is a running game in Minnesota again. Now, I don't think it's an elite running game. I don't think it's something where, hey, I'm going to give the ball to Aaron Jones 30 times and then have him control the game. But he had 19 carries, 102 yards, caught a touchdown. I think you can count on this running game to be solid for you. And that's all the passing game really needed, right? A solid complement to keep defenses honest. There's a lot of conversation this week about cover 2 and banning 2 high safeties, which was honestly the most asinine thing I think I've ever heard. But
yes,
one of the easiest things you can do when teams want to drop 2 safeties against you consistently, pound the rock, run the ball, attack the front 7, and beat them. If you beat the front 7, you're going to demoralize them, and then you're going to have to bring somebody up to help out and run support. then that's when you take things over the top. Like it's a strategy thing. And I really liked that defensively. I thought the pass rush plans were exquisite from Brian Flores once again. Jonathan Grenard proving he is not better than Danielle Hunter, but he is better for the Vikings than Danielle Hunter. Andrew Van Ginkel proving that he was a great addition as well. Didn't even really feel like they missed Ivan Pace or Dallas Turner today, which I was a little concerned that both of those guys were out because they were both key cogs in that front seven machine. But I will say, at the end of the game, I thought Jalen Redmond played really well because the Texans were playing their first-team offensive lineman. Redmond had a couple pressures, had some really nice reps. The UDFA out of Oklahoma in 23, played with the Arlington Renegades last year in the XFL, and wrecked people during the preseason. I thought he was really good. Like, just solid everywhere. You can tell that this defense is just clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know if this defense can really be stopped like it was last year because of how they've been able to grow this over the course of the offseason. And now it feels like everybody has a Harvard MBA playing this defense. Like it's bonkers. I'm going to find things to criticize when I really watch back the game film. It wasn't a perfect game. Justin Jefferson had that drop, and then he had that bobble, which I'm not counting that second one as a drop. He extended out with one hand and couldn't bring it in. It's just a miss. Every receiver is going to miss that at a time or two. But there were things to clean up. But we didn't play with TJ Hawkinson or Jordan Addison, and this offense put up 34 points against a really good defense.
Yes, one of the best.
Enjoy the win today because the Vikings didn't just earn it. They took it. And it rocked.
And I'm hoping that you talk about a letdown. I hope there's no regression due to injuries or people figuring it out because this feels so exciting so quickly, and we're not used to that as Vikings fans. I hope we don't have that letdown game. I hope they keep the foot on the gas from here on out. Let's see what this team can do. This could be a very special season.
I really think it can be a special season, Dave. I think it's already a special season. One thing that really stood out to me when kind of looking back at some of the other special seasons the Vikings have had, there is a moment, one moment that you can pin to that told you, oh boy, this is going to be a special year. You had in 98, the Moss Monday night game against Green Bay. That was kind of that team's coming out party. And it's like, okay, this is legit. This feels real. And it snowballed from there. 09, the Greg Lewis game. It snowballed from there. I think it was the Monday night game against the Chicago Bears for me when Case Keenum had to come in for Sam Bradford and he played really well and led us for a comeback victory. For me, that was that moment. It wasn't quite on the level of the other two, but in 2017, that kind of got the ball rolling for me thinking that was going to be a special year. And I don't know if the Vikings have had that moment yet because it's usually like something really big. And maybe it was this game, but keep an eye out for that moment because I'm really, really intrigued to see if this is going to be another one of those special years in a conference that is honestly like it's winnable.
Well, and it's a good conference. You got Detroit, who were NFC runner-ups last year. You have, unfortunately, that team from Wisconsin that's always a pain in the butt. And you have Chicago, who has tons of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but also on the offensive side. They just can't seem to get their head out of their posterior and put it all together. If they do, they're going to be dangerous. It's going to be interesting. Now, Jonas, In 2017, do you remember one of those magical moments that you thought this was a magical season?
Oh, that's tough. I think if I would have to pin it down, I think it would have been that Buccaneers game because um, 1 week before we had that Steelers game, which was a huge letdown. It was absolutely horrible to look at, and then after that, they bounced back against the Buccaneers. They had Case Keenum in, and you're like, okay, but actually, like that was the time when I thought that this roster was really good. I think when I think about it, it had to be the Rams game. I think and that quick hitch of Adam Thielen that absolutely opened up the game when it went for that long touchdown. I think that's the game. It was also the game when Case Keenum ducked under those two tacklers that were bearing down on him, and then from his back foot through this 10-yard completion. I think it was also to Thielen. I think that was the game that really showed people that okay, the Vikings are going to go far this year.
Okay.
The Rams game's a really good call out. I was at that game. That was, I want to say, like a week or two into my now wife and I dating, and we went to that game. Awesome stuff.
You want to talk about making magic? Yes. Blame it on the Rams game. That's too cool.
Yeah.
That year I had a great memory for me because we went up to Washington and watched Case Keenum just throw rainbow, balls up and be caught by Diggs and by Thielen, and it was just wonderful. Now, hopefully bringing it back to the 2024 squad, hopefully we don't see the rainbows and the lucky horseshoe type of stuff. Hopefully it's well-earned like it has been these first 3 games.
I would say there were a couple of throws today that are in that direction. I think there were 3 throws that went off the hands of Texans defenders into the hands of Vikings receivers. So there was some lucky stuff there today, but not as much as like 2017. Like if you look back on that season, even though it was special and that roster was really good, but there was a lot of fluky stuff going on that I think kind of clouded the view of many people in their high positions in the management in front office positions about where the Vikings are as a roster, because I think that kind of paved the way for the late Zimmer seasons when all things went down. But yeah, I think this year so far, yes, there was some fluky stuff, but for the Vikings, there wasn't everything perfect. Like especially in the Niners game, the Vikings also had I think 2 or 3 turnovers. So yeah, it's not all fluky right now. The Vikings are really good on late downs. That's like the one category where I would say this is kind of noisy, but otherwise, I don't think there are many big indicators that the Vikings are frauds or something like that. Like it's also a couple of years ago, there were a lot of indicators that said that. I think the biggest one was the point differential when the Vikings had so many wins despite having a negative point differential. But this year, I think they have one of the best so far, if not the best, because the Saints lost today.
Did they? I didn't see that. That would be amazing. Cool.
Yeah,
Good
the
to know.
15 to
Eagles.
12 to the Eagles.
Good. I always like hearing that. There's a few teams I like when they lose, and that happens to be one of them. Nick, thank you for reminding everybody. Please like and subscribe because it means a lot to us, and it helps the algorithm get us out. We are building this network even further this year, especially with the addition of Sal Spice. She's doing her post-game party. If you follow her on Twitter, I'm sure you're going to see pictures and popping champagne bottles after this game, and should be fun. And her shows on Tuesday and Thursday should be a blast. We generally record them in the morning. They come out in the evening. So just for you guys to know, Big says lucky stuff. Like, who is this guy? 34-7. It doesn't even get better than that. Not luck, because that's an ass kicking. For the most part, it was an ass kicking, but there was a couple points. I remember one of Sam Darnold's. He threw up a big lofting ball to it was Munt or one of the tight ends, double covered, and luckily it got knocked down and not intercepted. And that was lucky because it should have been an interception in my books. But there are some of those plays. Every game, there's some of those plays, Biggs, and we got through them this time. So it is what it is. Now, Jonas, when do you do your podcast over in Germany?
That's tough to say right now. I have to ask the other guys. Right now, because my season is also still going on, and I also am during my exam phase on my university right now. So I'm caught up in some other stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, or if my colleagues there are going to do it this week. So we'll have to see, but probably the next couple of days there should be something out, I guess. And yeah, we'll see if I'll be in it.
Cool. Because we love that there's a German fan base that absolutely loves this team as much as we do. That's fantastic. Now, I went over to the offensive side of the box score, some of the highlights, did not go over the defensive side. Your Minnesota Vikings had 5 sacks today. Going into this week, they had the NFL league with 11. They will probably retain that league unless somebody absolutely goes off today, which is good. They ended up with, Andrew Van Ginkel had the most tackles, 6. He had a sack and a tackle for loss. He was everywhere. And it was cool to hear his story of what they named his son. I thought that was funny. And it was good. And for those that missed it, it's Rippin Van Ginkel. I think him and his wife, I love their sense of humor. But we'll see how that goes as the kid grows up. I think it's great. Jonathan Grenard had 3 sacks himself today. Mm-hmm. He was like, you're my old team. You let me go, and I'm going to make you pay for it. And I love that attitude. But speaking of pay for it, I do have to say, Diggs had a good game today against us. I didn't quite expect that.
I figured he'd have a good day, but I thought that they would make more of an effort to get Tank Dell involved because I didn't think that the Vikings had a requisite player to really run and move with Tank Dell. Maybe Byron Murphy Jr., but I even thought with his quick, shifty explosiveness, and you have the 2 guys on the outside to really draw coverage, I thought they could just pepper in targets to Dell, and they really didn't try to do that. So they saw things a little differently than me, but I think that was probably my biggest surprise is they didn't try to get Dell more involved and manufacture touches that way.
Did it surprise either one of you that Camus Grugier-Hill started versus Brian Asamoah instead of Pace?
Not at all. I think.
Go ahead.
I think Asamoah had a rough preseason, in my opinion. Yes, he is explosive. He is a great athlete, but he's in year 3 and he still hasn't got that mental part down, and he just has he still has too many blunders that you as a coach are like, you have to get this man off the field. Like, I think Luke Brown calls those cuttable mistakes, and he still makes them, and he makes a lot of them, and those are mistakes that can really cost you. And as much as exciting as it is to see him shoot through a gap with his explosiveness, but there are some things you just cannot excuse, and Grugier Hill was definitely the safer pick, and he showed the coaches that they made the right call.
Yeah, he had the pick, and what else did he do for today? He also was
almost
up
got
there.
a strip.
Yep. He had 3 tackles and 2 pass defended. So he played well.
Yeah. And it's really hard to criticize the Vikings for making that decision, especially with everything that Jonas mentioned. I thought that they would probably start Asamoah because I think the style of play is similar enough to Ivan Pace where they wouldn't have to necessarily change anything. And Asamoah is bigger than Pace by a couple inches, but I thought he'd be able to kind of do some of those intriguing, like penetrating things to make stops in the run game and that explosiveness. Even if he got it wrong a couple times, I think the defense is solid enough where they could have overcome it. But the results were good with Grugier Hill. I'm not surprised they made that call. And that just shows you what they think of Asamoah, that it just ain't working.
Well, speaking of the running game, the Vikings defense held the Texans to a grand total of 38 yards on 14 rush attempts. That's amazing. That's
the Texans
phenomenal.
the Texans aren't exactly known as a great rushing offense. They have been pretty bad at this last year. They had some improvements over the first couple of weeks with Joe Mixon, but that's not their game. The Vikings, to their credit, they shut it down, but you had to expect that if you were going to beat them today. So credit, but that was the thing they had to do.
Hey, it worked.
It also should be said that no Mixon, no Pierce. They were running out their 3rd, 4th, and 5th running backs in this game.
Yep, Cam Akers.
Yes.
And he gave it a valiant effort.
Hey, he got the only score.
He's got a touchdown, yeah.
As Big said, Dave on my show, no running game. And I apologize yesterday for what happened on my show on the video. We've discovered a bug, and it's being addressed. So, and I know how to get around it now, too. So that won't happen again. At least not that one. Well, folks, I think it's time to go celebrate. I have steaks that are warming up. I need to get seasoned. I have more tequila to drink and more football to watch. It's going to be a good day. I know Tyler has a boatload of articles to write, and he's going to enjoy doing that. And Jonas, when's your next game? And you're muted.
We have games on the next couple of weekends.
Playoffs?
We don't have playoffs. We just have to finish up the season. Second place team lost today, which was good. We took care of our business yesterday. So there are, depending on other outcomes, there are scenarios where we can clinch the league title next week or the week after that. So hopefully I'll fly to London with that in the bag. Would be nice.
Good.
But let's see.
Now, I want to address one deal. It was asked, Peter asked, when is Addison and TJ due back? I think Addison will be back next week along with Dallas Turner. And TJ will be back after the bye, most likely. I haven't heard any
That
different.
seems like the most likely scenario, yeah.
So, with that, what do we say, gentlemen?
SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.